All right, hello everybody. This is Dr. Schoner. Welcome to week 2 of the semester. In this video, I am going to talk about the expectations for our first paper assignment, analysis paper 1. It is due at the end of Friday, September 4th. If you talked to me last week, if you were in my History 102 remote class and you were in on our Zoom meeting, then you don't need to watch this video because we already talked about all this stuff. But if you're in my online class or you missed out on the Zoom, if you're in the other class, you might want to watch this to figure out what's going on with the first assignment. So this video is for both of my 102 classes, but it's going to be the same thing for each of you guys. So I'm just going to pick one of my sections, go to weekly modules, and under week 2 is all the stuff you need for doing the paper. So you've got your checklist of things to read for this week. We've got some pages out of your textbook and the documents from Young, Abe Sayez, and the Declaration of the Rights of Man. Now, once you're done reading all the things that you need to do, your assignment for this week is to write your first analysis paper. Down at the bottom of the folder is analysis paper 1. And right here on the front, you can see, you can open up this document and it's the same thing, but you can see the directions, using the paper template. And we'll talk about the template in just a little bit. Craft a 2 to 3 page paper that addresses these questions down here. And you want to use the historical documents that we read last week on the Enlightenment and also this week leading up to the French Revolution to write this paper. Okay, so you're using, for every paper that we do, you're going to be using 2 weeks worth of document readings. Okay, that's going to be the standard from here on out. So week 1 is no exception. You want to use weeks 1 and 2 documents to answer the questions. And then you upload the paper by simply clicking on this link, analysis paper 1, and by selecting the browse my computer. My wife just put some coffee in front of me. Thank you. Okay. And here's the directions again up here, and you can upload the direct file. And also make sure you check this box, agree to submit the paper through SafeAssign, because that's like our anti-plagiarism tool, and it's required before we submit anything on my Blackboard course. You can also, if you want, and I don't know why you would do this, but I guess if you're using a laptop where Microsoft Word is not supported, you could type your paper directly into this text box. I don't recommend doing that because if your browser times out and you have to refresh it or log back into Blackboard, you could lose all of your work. So I recommend just doing the browse my computer and upload the file directly, so you don't screw yourself over. But yeah, here's the prompt itself is asking, how did Enlightenment writers put forward new ideas about justice, right? And then Bonassana and Rousseau directly talk about this idea. And then related to that is the problems that are plaguing France at the end of the Enlightenment, and what kinds of solutions are put forward to address these problems, and how do they promise greater justice. So we're kind of talking about Enlightenment ideas of justice here. And these are very broad questions, and you can answer them however you want. And that's up to you. Now, the other things in this folder are essential to crafting the essay itself. So let's take a look at the analysis paper template next. If you click on that link, it will open you up to this document. And this is how you want to format and structure your essay. Okay, like this is a more in-depth kind of, you'll use this template for every analysis paper that you write, but it tells you exactly how to structure the thing. So up here you want basic information, your name, the class, the instructor, and paper number 1. It's a pretty common format for college level papers. You want to do it in 12-point font, Times New Roman or Calibri for the type, double-spaced, default margins, and then the top left corner with all this stuff like we just went over. So every paper is going to look the same in that regard, and it's just good practice to have a standard template to follow. Your essay should have, and this is probably common sense for many of you, an intro, a body, and a conclusion. And if you need more detail on that, go ahead and read this paragraph on that. The length, we talked about the length, that's 2 to 3 pages or 500 to 700 words, and that's including citations. That's the window. You can go longer than that if you want. You could write a whole book if you wanted to. More information is not going to hurt you in any way. But anything shorter than 2 pages, and we're looking at a grade deduction, because it's hard to actually answer the questions I'm putting forward in less than 2 pages, double space. That's going to be tough. The grading, we'll take a look at the rubric in just a second. And then finally, citations. Now, when I say I want you to use the documents to help you write the essay, this is what I'm talking about. I don't want you to go to internet sources. I don't want you to look outside of the readings we've already been doing for this class. Like, I want you to use the historical documents to answer these questions. That's the whole point of this exercise, is to use these documents to answer these kind of broad theoretical questions that we're going over about the historical past. So, and whenever you use a document, you want to cite it, okay? And so there's an example down here, right? Young is one of the sources you'll read, one of the documents you'll read for week 2. Young observed that the poor condition of farmers weighed down on the country, writing that, and this is a direct quote here, the farmer is in the lowest state of poverty, his land is blah, 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 right? He finishes the quote, and then when he's done quoting the document, he writes the author, the last name of the author of the document title, Travels in France, and then the page number where he found the quote that he's using as evidence. If there's no author, like Declaration of the Rights of Man, for instance, has no author, just don't put anything there. You just put Declaration of the Rights of Man, page 659, or whatever, okay? So whenever you use direct evidence, whether it's a direct quote or paraphrasing information from one of the documents, you want to cite where you got that source from. Now, here's a sample paper that you can find also on Blackboard, where it's got this whole format laid out, right? The name of the student, I did not have Anna Kendrick in class, unfortunately. That would be awesome. History 101 in this case. In your case, it's 102. Professor shown paper 1. And then they've got this structured where it's double space, Times New Roman, 12-point font. They've got a beautiful introduction here, just a couple of pages. Here's the body of the essay with all of their content and evidence. And then finally, a conclusion. And I just highlighted the intro and conclusion to make them stand out better. And you can read this and kind of read it on your own time. Just get a sense of like what a good analysis paper looks like. It's 2 full pages, so it meets the length requirement. They pull from historical documents as evidence, right? So you can see the 3 times that they did this here. And this was a weird paper. It was only on one particular document, so they only used one document. You should use more than one in answering the questions. I'd go for at least 2, 3. More would be great. But here's where they use parenthetical citations. Florentine Chronicle, page 556. Beautiful, right? This is how you want to do it. So use this analysis paper sample to help guide you. One last thing I want to point out before the end of the video is the rubric. You can also view the rubric and see how I grade these papers. So I'll be grading you on content, which is almost half of the points. It's out of the whole essay is out of 60 points. So I guess 2/3 of the points are on just content. In other words, you just taking an attempt to write a cogent essay gets you up to 20 points, and just the things that you include in there. Are you using evidence, right? Are you using the documents to back up your claims? The length, does it meet the 2 to 3 page length requirement? Are you using citations and using them correctly? And then finally, composition, or in other words, is this in readable English? So that's the gist of things, guys. that's basically how you want to structure your paper. All the tools that you need are right there. If you have any questions whatsoever about this paper, because I know it's your first time doing it for me in this class, if you have any questions, contact me via email and I'll get back to you within 24 hours, but probably sooner than that. You can also click on the Zoom links that I post in the announcements page of Blackboard, and you can attend my office hours on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Fridays. All right, that's it for this video. I hope you guys have a great rest of your weekend, and I'll see you in week 2.